Hello, I am Deepak and I'm going to discuss a serious topic that is facing America and all over the world, and that is the mental crisis. Can we overcome it? What is the solution? Mental crises have reached a crisis level, especially in last 5 years here in USA. Uh, Sometimes it may have serious consequences. So many shootings in America by youth who are mentally disturbed. There are warning signs and they are ignored by everybody. So it results in terrible situation as we saw in Uvalde, Texas, where this youth had mental problem, but it was ignored. Even his father helped him to buy guns in spite of he knowing that there was some problem with his son. And then he shot his grandmother and then shot 20 children in the school. So the mental crisis have reached a boiling point. The homelessness could be one other reason for this problem as well. And sometimes the homeless people, attack innocent people on the street, in the subway. Recently, an ex-Olympian athlete and a model was attacked in Los Angeles, and she injured her face and her eyes. Her name is Kim Glass. When I watched her, she was really badly injured, but she blamed this to the mental crisis that is facing our country. She did not blame the homeless person in as such, but she wanted something done for them. She was crying out to all of us to do something to help overcome this situation. So we are very fortunate. We have home, we have family, we have a job. Homeless people, they don't. These mentally ill people live on the street. They don't have that. We have cars, smartphones, access to music, television. We can go to visit a movie in a theater. We can go to Broadway shows. We could spend $200 to $1,000 for these shows, for music concerts, for Broadway shows, etc. They don't. Also, we go to eat in expensive restaurants. Sometimes the bill may be in thousands of dollars. And we go to vacation in expensive places, cruises. We go to Canadian Rockies, we go to Alaska, we go to Hawaii, we go to Europe, we go to Asia, we go to Africa, safaris. These poor folks don't. It's going to cause trouble in their lives when they see all these things happening, when this all inequalities going on all over the world. I tell you that this problem has gradually increased. Poorer people have become poorer, rich people have become richer. Also, what has happened in America and probably all over, the homelessness has increased so much. Probably there are about 1.5 million people in USA and maybe more who are homeless, and many more people are staying with their friend, with their family for the time being till they can get some help. So it is extremely a big problem, and one of the reasons is that housing has become unaffordable. Housing costs have increased so much. Nobody is building affordable housing. Rent is so high, like in thousands of dollars to rent even. So it's, how can poor people afford it? And, many of these people become unemployed, and then they become poor, they are kicked out of their home, they become homeless, they get depressed, they get mentally sick. So this is a vicious cycle, and it keeps going on and on and on and reaches a boiling point. and then these people act out in frustration. And the solution for them is not more police. We do not need more policing for these people. I'm not saying police should be defunded, but part of the money for the allotted to the police should go into special training to make them aware of this situation and make them become more mellowed out as far as dealing with poor people, mentally ill people, and not to become aggressive and over assertive. So that is very important. These poor people need housing, they need clothing, they need food assistance, they need a driver's license, and they need help in getting a job. They need various different things that we normally take for granted. They need help in this. Also, many of these homeless people and mentally sick patients have mental issues. They have outbursts of anger, so they need psychiatric help. They need psychologists, they need behavioral modification therapists. And, the government, the federal government and the local state government must mandate insurance companies to pay for the care of these folks, because psychiatric payment is always low or none, or there will be 50% copay that patient has to pay, and they cannot afford to do that. So government needs to mandate the companies, insurance companies, to pay adequately to the provider who provide the care to mentally ill people. When a mentally ill person becomes violent and aggressive, we don't need police in 99% of the cases. What we need is a crisis interventional professionals, CIP, I would call it, crisis interventional professionals, who will be specially trained. They will not carry any weapon, but they will try to find out what the situation is. They will try to reason with the mentally ill person to see if they can intervene and diffuse the crisis. It will be extremely rare for them to really call police, maybe 1 out of 100, where the person is not able to be controlled. But when the police is called, they should not use violent methods. They should use non-violent methods of containment. There are certain non-violent weapons available, and more research is needed in developing those weapons. Because the taser guns can cause serious damage, so they need to have taser guns that are less potent, and there should be other means to control them. The sprays are not very good, but there are some spray balls that they can spray in the area, and that could help. Also, there are many other methods that are undergoing research, and government and private organizations should invest more in developing non-lethal techniques to contain a person who may be violent. So we must have more resources to identify the mentally ill person. If a parents or a friend or relative notice this type of person who may have serious mental issues, if they have expressed some violent thoughts, or they have written something on the social media like Facebook and other places, those people should be brought to the attention by their relatives to the authorities, so that they can look into the situation and see if this person can be helped by counseling and by mental health professionals or crisis interventional professionals. So that is very important. Instead of attacking them, or instead of talking about what they did after things have happened, We need to intervene before they cause problem. Police department, when they undergo training, the new cops, there must be extensive training about compassion in handling mentally ill people. If you remember in 2020, when Derek Chauvin pressed upon George Floyd's neck for like 9 or 10 minutes, numerous people had gathered around and they kept on asking him to relieve the pressure. They were even videotaping him. He did not care, he did not listen to them. He continued to press upon the knee. And other police also did not intervene. They just stood there. And poor guy, George Floyd, died from asphyxiation, air supply cut off, and he died. There was not, should not have happened, right? It should not have happened. Since then, so many more problems have occurred for the cops themselves for causing or using bodily force on poor people. They choked a person in New York. They shot a young person who was unarmed. So there are many cases. So therefore, the police should be trained. It's very, very important. And if there are complaints against the police of brutality, that should not be pushed under the rug. Those police should be put on the bench duty, and the case must be investigated to find out the truth. And if they find that the police repeatedly violates this policy, that police should be terminated. There should not be if and but. If in a company somebody causes some sexual harassment, like in a government, a person will be suspended, investigated, and terminated if it's true. So that should be to the police as well. I do not support that the immunity that the police have should be removed completely, but every case of police accused, when the police are accused of possible brutality, must be investigated, and then a proper action must be taken by their commander or the police in charge, and not let it go. So that is very important. Police training and then investigation of any accused person. So to summarize, what can we do? This is a difficult problem. Mental health crisis and homelessness is a very difficult problem in America. Cities like New York, Los Angeles, San Francisco, they are not able to solve this problem because nobody wants to get to the bottom of the problem, and that is the mental health crisis. You need to do something, like you need to educate these people, you need to give them housing, you need to give them food, clothing, etc. And they need to be given counseling, they need to be in a group sessions. If they need some medication to calm their aggressive behavior, that should be offered as well. So, of course, there should be many more affordable housing being built for these people. There are so many people have become homeless because they cannot afford rent or a house anymore. They don't have a job, and they may have been suffering from depression, anxiety, and other problems. So if we do not solve the problem as a whole, then this problem will never go away. Mentally ill people are not crazy people. They don't belong in asylum. They belong in the society. They need to be treated with respect, and they should be helped by the society, by the government, by federal and the local and the state government. It's very, very important. Otherwise, there will be attacks on innocent people. These You have to treat these people, and as I mentioned before, government must employ many professionals to help, mental health professional to help these people instead of police. Mental health professionals who are trained to diffuse the crisis situation for people who are mentally ill, homeless, and living on the street, acting out, all those things. We have so many things in life, they don't have anything. So sometimes this would happen. So it's very important that we tackle this situation. It's one of the serious problems, and I'm sure both the parties would want to do something for this problem in America. It is not just problem of San Francisco, New York, or LA. It is everywhere. It's spreading everywhere like a wildfire in America. Mental health crisis, the big problem, and I hope we can tackle that seriously. Thank you very much for listening. This is Deepak. Thank you.